What up, perps? Kid Copious back in effect. Purple State Party, you know what we're doing here? We're repping America, the center, common sense. Much love, everybody. Thank you for joining me yet again. Episode 250. Haven't missed a week yet. That's consistency. That's what I kind of want to see out of our government. Some consistency. Let's get on a basis of common ground and, roll, America, roll. Because that's what we've got, man. We've got a great country here. We got great people. We shouldn't be sitting here wasting all of our time debating some of the stupid shit that we have to debate. We're going to get to some of that. Right now, I just want to say, much respect to all the parents out there, man. As a parent myself, I now know how hard it is. Even when your kids are grown, you still got to be there for them. So this one goes out to all the parents. Teddy, ha ha ha. Nearly 5 years ago, when I started all this, Purple State really referred to the state I live in, California. But nobody wants to hear about just California. But, I feel like the political landscape on a federal level is starting to calm down. I think the media has been exposed. I think the radical left has been exposed. And I think, we're going to turn the spotlight on the Republicans. But I think I have a little time right now to get back to, the state I love, which is California. It's been hard. I mean, most of my life, people were somewhat... California was the peanut butter and everybody else was jelly. They were jealous. We have great weather here. We have lots of different activities that can be done, I think a lot of states have caught up with us, and I think our deep blueness is really coming to bite us in the ass. I mean, California is as blue as possible. We protect abortions, illegal migrants, sex changes, green energy, but we don't give a shit about working people, mothers, children, or even the LGBT community. You know why I say that? Because sure, they'll allow you to, do what you want to do if you want to have a sex change. But even a gay illegal migrant still has to pay the growing price for California sunshine. That's the truth. I mean, when Gavin Newsom, and the dictatorial party that is the Democrats in California, or even Oregon or Washington or some of these other blue states, when they pass laws that they know are going to make things more expensive for people, they don't exempt the gays. They don't exempt people of color. No, we all have to pay a price for it. Trying to find housing in California is not easier for a gay person than it is for a straight person, or a brown person for a white person, or a black person for a yellow person. It's not. It's their dictatorship, encompasses everyone. They want people here, but they don't build houses. They say they want children, but they don't build schools. We want less crime, but they don't build more prisons. We want the mentally ill off our streets. Really, is that so much to ask? Our mentally ill not being on our streets, throwing freakouts every time we try to walk into a store? But they don't build mental facilities. They don't do shit. We need the addicts off the street, but they don't build rehabs. We need oil, whether or not Gavi and the rest of them like it. We need oil, but we won't drill. We're going to bring it across the ocean. Like, that's a better idea. God, it's no common sense with these people. We need water, but we shun reservoirs. And I'm not just talking out my ass here. I mean, fuck, man. We gave them the money like 50 years ago, and they ain't built one reservoir. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they shut one reservoir down because of some little microorganism in it. We don't need kings, but we elect dictators. We don't want electric cars, but the dictators are forcing us into them. We don't need a train, but we sure as hell is building one. Gavin Newsom, the Democrats in California, they only listen to the lobbyists and special interests. And those special interest groups do not have our best intentions at heart. When environmental groups block the creation of a reservoir, that's our water. We need it. We need it a hell of a lot more than the environment needs whatever the fucking lobbyists say we're going to save by not building the reservoir. I mean, I don't remember any of us asking, hey, can we have all electric vehicles? But we're doing it. I do remember us saying we'd like to keep the death penalty, but Gavin Newsom saying, no. It's bullshit what's going on here. That's the thing that has really infuriated me about the left. Is the fact that they think they can just rule like emperors. They can do whatever they think is best for us. And it's been that way far too long. And the worst part, I'll tell you the worst part about being in deep blue California. The national election clearly showed people were moving away from the Democrats because the Democrats were so far to the fucking left, they didn't even know where right was. But does California take that and say, oh, wait, people really want to be... No, because they don't give a shit about us here. They preach all of this bullshit about who they're for, but they don't care. And the worst part about it is that their destruction extends from the poorest of the poor to the middle class. Unless you're rich, you're effed in the beehole in California. I mean, that is their plan. They want it for the rich elite and the people who clean their toilets. That's why they're driving manufacturing out. That's why they're even driving logistics out. How are people supposed to get jobs? We have one of the worst unemployment rates here. We have the most homeless people. We don't build houses enough. We don't make energy affordable. We don't make food affordable. We do jack shit to help the average Californian. But, we're going to build that fucking bullet train. Where are they coming up with this? And you know what? The other thing about the blue is they really, really, really rely on the young and stupid. And that's the only reason they survive here in California. So I'm sure you've probably heard over the last several days some giant drones. I mean, these are drones that are about 6 feet wide. I mean, they're wider than a car. They've been flying around New Jersey, and now we're tracking this mothership that came out of Iran. See, again, here's Iran. Iran is actually willing to sail a ship all the way across the country, launch some drones into New York City, maybe kill a few hundred people, and then vanish into the night. That's how idealistically evil they really are. And we do nothing about it. Now, let me clarify. We don't know what these fucking drones are, okay? We have no idea, all right? The military, the White House, they're telling us it's nothing to be concerned about, but do we really trust this White House? I don't trust this White House as far as I could throw it, and I'm pretty sure I can't throw a house pretty far. I may be superhero kid copious, but even I got my limitations. But we'll keep an eye on this, but this is what happens. You know, the scenario of Iran coming over here and launching a drone attack on America is because we are growing weak. And not only is it our leadership that has grown weak, our military that has grown, somewhat complacent, somewhat soft. It's our kids, man. We're letting a thing called TikTok, the internet, their phones, social media, the media, shape their lives. And that's the worst thing that I'm seeing. I'm seeing babies out in public in nice places, arboretums, places like that, where they could be taking in the sights and sounds of the world around them, but they're glued to a phone. I have a feeling that ultimately that's what will be the downfall of America. Too many of our kids will just be too fucking soft. Too soft. See, I wanted to get that drone thing out of the way. Give myself a little pause before California bashing. But this is important shit. This is exactly what I was saying before. San Diego County votes to become super sanctuary for migrants. They have spent, San Diego County has spent $5 million a year on immigration legal defense. Seriously? But basically what they want to do is, in the sanctuary cities, unless an illegal immigrant is convicted of something horrible like child murder or torture, something like that, they will not notify ICE. Well, down in San Diego, they decided that they were going to go for the woke point bonus, and they said, you know what? All crimes, even heinous, high-end violent crimes, gang activity, weapons offenses. Nope. You want them ICE? You're going to have to get a warrant. I understand if they were trying to protect American citizens under certain circumstances, maybe let's say young people, okay? Young 12 and under citizens. I can get that. They are protecting illegal immigrants who were probably in jail in their home country, were released with the promise of you're going across the border, get the fuck out of our country, go to the United States. Or they're just criminals who said, hey, the United States offers better opportunities, so we're going to come up here. They come across our borders, criminally come across our borders as criminals, commit more crimes, and then we say, nope, ICE, you're not coming in here. We're not going to let you know that we've got this dangerous TDA gang member in here. That's California. Who the fuck? I mean, who supports this other than people who have been brainwashed or are actually part of the problem? Real quick, boxing legend Floyd Mayweather attacked by mob in London street after showing support for Israel. See, this is the phenomenon in the United States, like Columbia University and shit like that. It's going on all around the world, okay? This is cuckoo behavior, all right? But I think a lot of this is being driven, A, by the radical left who want to keep their soldiers, little bitch-ass soldiers, out in the field, get them some more training by protesting, going after boxing legends. Boxing legend, I don't know. I didn't like the guy, but whatever. Or it's just straight up like Muslims who have been brainwashed into believing that the end of Israel will bring on paradise. See, that's one of the things people don't understand, is that there are passages in the Quran that essentially say paradise on earth will not come until the last Jew is dead. That's kind of difficult ideology to ever support. If you believe that, right? If you believe that, how will you ever make peace with the Jews? For the Jews must die. You see, that's the ideological problem that we're facing with this. That there is no backing down, that there is no peace for these people. They must destroy Israel. That's what it is. And yet, here in America, a lot of the young people are conditioned to hate Christians because they don't really like Jews. I mean, gays. But then they'll turn around and support groups that actively need to murder Jews. And that's not acceptable hypocrisy. All right, so we're going to let Piers Morgan do the heavy lifting here. I don't always agree with Piers. I don't necessarily like his methods. I want to be somewhere in between, man. I've known Joe Rogan when he was a comedian, when he was on a show called Hardball, when he was on a show called News Radio. I knew him long before that. I knew him talking on the Kevin and Bean show. And I'll tell you, to be honest with you, from the Kevin and Bean show, I mean, it's amazing to see how big Adam Carolla, Jimmy Kimmel, and Joe Rogan have become. Now, Joe Rogan was not really on the show like Jimmy and Adam, but it's amazing. But, Piers Morgan, to me, was originally just a judge on AGT, and I liked him because he was sort of blunt and honest. But, whatever. Different flavors for different people, all that. But I'm going to let him do the heavy lifting on this. The left's response to Daniel Penny and Brian Thompson cases exposed their sick hypocrisy. I cheered when I heard that Marine veteran Daniel Penny had been found not guilty. I felt shocked and saddened when I saw the footage of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson being executed in the middle of Manhattan. Those two reactions would surely be the correct and appropriate ones for anyone with an ounce of fairness and humanity in their heart. True that. I mean, look, the way insurance works, it has flaws. But some of the things that people see as flaws are more like safeguards. Insurance companies need to make money. They take our small premiums, combine them with other premiums, make construction loans, turn a profit off of those construction loans, and then need to spend that money to provide medical care for people. Are some of the people overpaid? Sure. I mean, everywhere is. But, think about it, folks. Even the people whose companies do the most useless things, they still are overpaid. And Daniel Penny, well, he did what he had to do. He stepped up. Like Piers says here. Penny risked his own safety on the crime-ravaged New York subway to prevent a dangerous, mentally ill homeless man with a lengthy rap sheet, 42 arrests in 8 years, of a lengthy rap sheet of violence from carrying out his ranting threat to kill someone. That's what he did. That's what he did. Why did Penny do this? Because he saw the frightened faces of nearby women and children and wanted to protect them. That's it. People on the right, people, center right, whatever you want to call them, we're not afraid of those kind of things. We want to protect. It could be a fatal flaw, wanting to get involved and to step up and put yourself out there to defend other people. I'm lucky. I've done it before, so I know I can. Still a fatal flaw, but I know I can do it. But look at that little side note right down there. MSNBC's Joe Scarborough slams progressives over laws that allow homelessness after the Daniel Penny verdict. See, these media people have got to understand. You can make your living placating one side or the other. But more and more people are going to be looking for people in the middle. Joe Scarborough is probably one of those people. We'll see it in a minute. We'll see it. Kid's a man of his word. I'm going to talk about the right because they've done some dumbass shit. So Pierce continues. We know this because 9 of the 11 witnesses who testified at the trial said Neely's behavior was the scariest experience they had on a subway. Yeah, I've had some scary... when I went back east, I had some scary times on subways. And this was late 80s, so it was... I guess it was a sort of a similar world in the fact that, crime was an issue, but whatever. That's why Penny walked free, because the jury understood that he was a hero, not a villain. And like Pierce says here, it was a tragic accident that Neely, who was high on drugs at the time, ended up dying. But that was a direct consequence of his own menacing action, not Penny's attempt to stop them from hurting innocent people. Yet with pathetic predictability, there was an immediate campaign by the left-wing activists to frame this as a racially motivated crime akin to the murder of George Floyd. Despite there being zero evidence to support this theory and no comparison in the circumstances of the two instances. Race-baiting charlatan AOC, as usual, trying to get her name out there. What a media whore. Shamefully posts on X, Jordan Neely was murdered. No, he wasn't. We know this. Others branded Penny a white supremacist without producing anything. The founder of Black Lives Matter in New York said anyone who thought Penny was innocent had racism in their heart and that the KKK got another victory. Really? Little sidebar right there. Delusional. AOC slammed for suggesting subway riders should be scared of Daniel Penny. Yeah. And that guy, Hawk Newsom, the leader of BLM, he was back there after the verdict saying, we need some black vigilantes. People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us? And then he made a threat at Penny. It's a small fucking world, buddy. Yeah, okay, let's just be clear here. Penny was being assisted by a black man. Some of the people on the jury were black. This is not a race issue, okay? This is a crazy man threatens to kill somebody. Another guy stops him. The color of their skin really doesn't matter. How does that matter? How does that matter? It only matters if you let it matter. It's an elective way of thinking that everything's about race. Oh, am I denying racism right now? Fuck no. Okay? I'm not. I see it. I see people being homophobic and racist all the time. And in my conversation, I'm like, whoa, what the F? This wasn't. So, right there. Moving on. Many openly celebrated the execution of Brian Thompson, the cold-blooded murderer, as Pierce says. Led by liberal journalist Taylor Lorenz. Oh, look at her. Another whack job getting her name in the paper. Well, I don't even know if it's in the paper because she's already been fired from the Washington Post and the New York Times. Like, even they are like, whoa, you're a little too far fucking left for us. Whoa, get the heck out. She posted, and people wonder why these executives dead. why people want these executives dead. She later commented, "I am not alone." In another X post saying, "Healthcare executive down, adorned with party balloons." He was a father. He was a husband. I don't know how that was going to turn out. But he was a person. And by all accounts, he was one of the good guys in the health industry. Look, I understand people get frustrated. You know what? We're not even going to get into that, okay? So Piers goes on. He had an interview with Tyler Lorenz. And he confronted her. He said, "Why would you, in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be the caring, sharing left where you know you believe in the sanctity of life?" To my astonishment, rather than back down or apologize, she went even further, saying, "I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many Americans, joy." Really? See, you felt, don't fucking, Tyler Lorenz, never going to see this, but anyhow, bitch, you do not be lumping Americans in, okay? You got little again, dumb, guilty white women out there who want the socialist states of America. Oh, yeah, they're jumping around. Bunch of dumbasses, a bunch of people who want to feel like they're fucking cool. All right? That's fucking dumb, dude. That's looking dumb. All right? Piers was incredulous. Joy? Seriously? Joy at a man's execution? Maybe not joy, Lorenz smirked, but certainly not empathy. Really? Really? Okay, we're supposed to care about all the shit. Yeah, remember, she's the one who was all COVID mad, right? So we're supposed to care about you and your COVID, not getting COVID. But some guy just gets executed on the streets and you're like, yay. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So Piers says, this guy is a husband. He's a father and he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful? To which she replied, well, she accused Thompson of murdering tens of thousands of Americans with the help. Right. Okay. If you think that you're cool for siding with this Luigi, okay, you're not. All right. You're not cool. The reaction to the two deaths has been very illuminating about the woke left's shocking double standards and warped hypocritical morality. They promote the hashtag be kind and profess to be so much more caring and sensitive and tolerant than conservatives. But they also think courageous veterans like Daniel Penny are villains and deranged shooters like Luigi are heroes. If you believe those two things, you're a disgusting excuse for a human being. I happen to agree with Piers on that. Okay, if you can't see it for what it is, all right, you're viewing the world through blinders, through rose-tinted glasses, as they say. You're not cool. You're not intelligent. These people are fucking morons because they believe in the dumbest things ever. It was not up to that guy who was gunned down, Brian, right? Brian? Oh, fuck. I'm bad with names. I'm really sorry about that. I mean, no disrespect, but I am really freaking bad with names. How do I not find it? Yeah, there it is. Brian, look at that. I was right. Oh, man. Gunning down Brian's not going to change anything. It's not an act of defiance. It's not a man that was pushed to do this. This was yet again, more than likely, just some guy who got two in his head and had some sort of psychotic break. In case you don't know out there, lots of men have their mental break in their 30s. That's usually when it materializes. But surprisingly, or not surprisingly, assassin Luigi Mangione takes lead in the 2028 Democratic primary polls. I don't think that's the way it's going to be this time around. I have a feeling that the Democrat leadership, the people who sit back, maybe they don't have to live with so many other consequences, right? Because they're really rich. They don't live in California. They don't care what Gavin Newsom does, really. Those people realize what has happened in the last election. We went to the far left, okay? We went all the way over, and we drove right off a fucking cliff. And it's undeniable. The mess that has been wrought upon us over the last 4 years is horrendous, and it's long-reaching, and it'll be stuck with us long after Trump leaves office. We will still have remnants of Biden and Newsom and all these motherfuckers who just simply do not care about us. They want power and they want money. Keep in mind, when you make things more expensive, you collect more in taxes. How Daniel Penny will get revenge on Manhattan DA. No, I'm not usually one of these guys who really likes lawsuits. So it has to kind of be one that makes sense for me to sign off on it, for Kid to scribble. But hopefully Daniel Penny goes after Bragg. Because this was a clear, and we saw it, one of the proofs that this was a clear conspiracy was the fact that when the jury was getting hung, they dropped that first charge, okay? That was a ploy to allow the jury to convict him on something, right? Something, so that they would feel vindicated. Bragg even came out and said, hey, even if Daniel Penny's found guilty, he may not even go to jail because there is no minimum term for the crime, right? For the second crime. That's how dirty these people are. I'm not saying the Republicans are clean. Don't get me wrong, okay? But what we're seeing out of the Democrats is just a complete lack of common sense. And in some of these cases, a complete hero making out of criminals and protecting criminals. Because people like Gascon, San Diego County, Gavin Newsom, whatever that chick's name is in Hochul in New York, they go out of their way to protect criminals and illegal immigrants. Now, that's fine. I'm willing to say at least 80% of the illegal immigrants have done nothing wrong and will do nothing wrong. It's the 20% that I'm worried about. But, going back to the lawsuit, you could see that there was some collusion. Some of what we've even seen with our own eyes feels a little sus, right? The medical examiner said it was the chokehold that killed Neely, but yet he was still breathing after the chokehold was applied. So I don't see how that could be the cause of death. I really don't, okay? I'm not going to try to make any analogies or anything like that. We're just going to move on. Like I said, the right, they have some dumbass shit, and we have to be able to call them out. If we want a perfect purple world, okay, where things are based on the best idea from the two sides, based on common sense, based on what's good for the most amount of people. What are these hand signs I'm doing? It's like my hands are operating independently. Anyhow, let's go with the Texas Tribune here. Ken Paxton, that's their DA, sues New York doctor accused of prescribing abortion pills to Texas woman. There's some of the details. If you can, read the screen. But basically, this is the stupid shit that we don't need to be doing. I'm tired of all these fucking lawsuits, man. Because these lawsuits only benefit the lawyers, okay? I have nothing against lawyers personally, but this is fucking ridiculous, okay? Maybe what this doctor in New York did, I don't know. The long and short of it is that Texas will sue people from out of state who provide abortion pills, but New York shields providers from out of state investigations and prosecutions. So, their law sort of serves as an implicit permission for a network of doctors to mail abortion pills into states that have banned the procedure. Look, if that's what somebody wants to do, they should be allowed to do that, okay? If you're talking about abortion, I basically think the rules need to be bent, all right? If you're willing to abort your baby, you're probably not going to make a good parent, at least not currently. That's something you're admitting to yourself. Or the situation in which you got pregnant is not going to allow you to be a good parent. One of the reasons why I support a woman's right to choose is because you're making a choice that is going to affect multiple lives. You don't know what if you fuck your kid up and then that kid goes on a shooting rampage at a school and kills 14 other kids, how many lives have you affected? I wish there was a way that we could limit children, having children to people who are actually capable of being good parents. But there isn't. That's a fantasy. Believe me, there's no amount of government regulation bullshit that would ever make that happen. But in an ideal world, in a perfect world, and that's the main reason why I support that. Look, I was lucky, man. I'm an adopted child. I know how lucky I am. Would I rather women give birth and then put their child up for adoption? Sure, that's a great solution. But that's also asking a woman to be pregnant for 9 months. Look, I think abortion is gross, man. I wouldn't want anybody I knew or anybody really taking a pill to cause an abortion. But that's their choice. There are a lot of things in a perfect world that I wouldn't want to see, right? We all have it. Wouldn't it be great if we could live in a world without pedophiles? But reality is reality, folks. And that's why I support abortion. And that's also why I rail against the right about it, because they are throwing away a lot of votes on something that, for decades, abortion was legal and the world did not stop spinning. Climate change, greatly overestimated. Oceans cooling Earth far more than we thought. Now, this is not an argument about climate change, okay? Because let's just say this. I want to put it this way, okay? Let's put it this way. Climate change is real. But is it natural or is it man-made? Some of us say natural. And this article goes into some of what they're starting to understand about how the planet protects itself. For the first time, researchers have found oceans help cool global temperatures more than anyone previously thought. One of the interesting things is that not only is it water capturing and redistributing the sun's heat, reflecting the sun, but some of the things that grow in the ocean, okay? This MESH, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to mesh. Let's just say mesh. Yeah, that's kind of a cool name. But anyhow, it's a sulfur compound that's released from the ocean. And it raises the sulfur in the atmosphere by 34%. And that sulfur actually reflects sunlight back into space. Now, this isn't trying to prove one thing or the other. What it really is all about is the fact that for decades they've used climate modeling to predict these dire things. Like, for example, you can look this up. They predicted that by the year 2000, the entire Hudson River would be frozen solid and the ports of New York would be closed. And that's based on modeling. Well, if your modeling does not include certain parameters, your modeling is flawed. And I guess forever, we have been operating on flawed models. Now, I'm all for cleaning things up, man. Give a hoot, don't pollute. I believe in that. But the truth of the matter is we are bankrupting our society. We are making piss-poor decisions based on piss-poor models. That's my problem. My other problem is I don't want a fucking electric car. All right? I've spent a lot of decades around electricity. I know what a fickle mistress she is. I don't want any part of it, okay? I just don't. I do not want to be driving around in it. I do not want to face head-on collisions with these freaking polluting, self-igniting batteries. At the same time, I don't want to just pump fumes into the air. But we have to know all the evidence before we start down this fucking road. And part of this evidence is that the ocean is protecting us more than we thought, and therefore not included in models. That's it. That's it. Like I said, we don't need a train, but we sure as fuck is building one. Well, maybe not. Musk Wiener. That's great. Just the news. That's clever. I give him bonus points for that. Musk Wiener spar over potential cuts to California's unfinished $135 billion high-speed rail. Many noted the absurd cost. I cannot believe this, okay? When the train is done, they are going to charge you $86 per LA to San Francisco rail ticket, which is more expensive than flying, okay? So this guy, Ryan McIntosh, brings up this point. For $130 billion, the expected cost of the high-speed rail, you can instead buy and operate 900 Boeing 737s to fly the entire population of San Francisco to Los Angeles and back every day for 7 years. That's the kind of cost that they're putting up. They're doing this because this is their crowning achievement. This is Newsom and this cadre's, this class's, the words are whatever, political generations monument to their fucking greatness. This is a monument to absurdity. This is absolutely absurd. This is the last thing, literally the last thing out of a list of 12 billion fucking things that we need done here in California. A fucking train. When we already have planes. Oh, but we want to phase the planes out for green. Okay, why don't we start with your private jets there, Kathy? Oh my God. Before I move off of this, okay? Doge is going after this. Noting that the original cost and the completion date were missed. There was $6.8 billion in federal funding and a request for $8 billion more. And they're like, nah, dudes. You said it was going to cost $33 billion or whatever, and it was going to be done by 2020. It's nowhere near done. I think it's a few miles at best. It's a long way from LA. I mean, it's like Bakersfield to Fresno or something like that. Some crazy, like right down the middle of the country. Not along the 5. Keep in mind, I covered it here once. When they contacted people over in, I believe, England and the Netherlands about building this rail, or Japan, something like that, those out-of-country experts, because they were experts, because they had done it. They had done it successfully. When they asked, is it going to follow the 5? And California said no, they left. Because not only is this just fraud and pork, remember, like I said before, you put $1 in a pot, it's hard to steal that dollar without being noticed. You put a lot of dollars in there, you can take whatever you want, nobody's going to know. That's what this project is. And it's time for it to stop. We have pressing needs here in California. They can try to ride the climate. I mean, not the climate, like climate change, but like the climate, nice sunny weather. They can ride that as long as they want, but man, they are fucking it up big time. And the first thing they could do to put us back on the road to recovery is to end the rail project. Why Newsom's electric vehicle mandate is in trouble. That's easy. Show me things Trump is going to do away with when he gets into office for 100, Alex. Yes. He's about to get permission from Biden to mandate electric vehicle manufacturing in other countries and in other states. And Trump's going to rescind it. Boom. Jim, back in the news here. No. I refuse to be lectured about racism by somebody who hates white people. Sure enough, Michigan University diversity officer accused of saying wealthy and privileged Jews don't need help. There she is. Yeah, she's got the pride flag up there. Look, I mean, if you are going to be in bed with DEI, you're not allowed to be hypocritical about it. Okay? I'm sorry. You cannot be hypocritical about diversity and inclusion. And you know what? I'm so fucking happy right now, folks. I am so fucking happy right now. I was trying to list off what DEI means. I can't remember the E. Oh, I'm so happy it's fading from my fucking memory. Look, man, you cannot be hypocritical about diversity. Either you believe in diversity and inclusion and I think it's equity, whatever, or you don't. So it doesn't matter if you are Jewish. If you need help, you need help. That should be it. Let's get into funner stuff here. This is one of my favorites of all times. Hunter Biden painting is 99% off or best offer. Yeah. Joe Biden will be exposed. My wife likes to say he's never going to get a library. He's going to get a library. he is corrupt. One of the ways he sold his influence was you paid a lot of money for Hunter's crack paintings, and then you got favors from Joe. It's as simple as that. It's simple as that. That's like if you're ever trying to date a single mom, the first move you're going to make is you're going to buy something for the kid. Well, that's the reverse, and now you do it in politics. Oh, man, they're going to be gone, dude. Here's Biden setting up flamethrowers for World War III. Stop that. You're not president yet. And Trump is by far the most powerful president-elect we've ever seen. It is insane how, as Trump was slowly inching towards winning the election, and the election then ended, and Trump was the winner, and like we started looking at how there was a bit of a red wave, you know, more Republican governors, more senators, more representatives. You know, you saw a lot of counties even in California, flip red. Man, within a few days of that, like, it just felt like President Trump was in charge. Biden's doing his damnedest, though. You know, 3 days after Trump won, Biden sent $10 billion in sanction relief to Iran. Yeah. Now he's pardoned Chinese spies. He's going to preemptively pardon his allies. He's going to do it on the last day. It's going to be a flurry. The Democratic Party is using the presidential law to set up the future, I believe. Future crimes. I believe that because he's talking about maybe partying Schiff. What has Schiff done? What are these undisclosed crimes? You know, and then as he tries to build his legacy, I love this part. Despite the fact that he was constantly telling Israel to leave Hezbollah alone, to de-escalate in Gaza, to not go after Iran, he is now taking credit for Syria falling. And the odd thing about Syria falling is Syria, the rebels and even the government was, sponsored by China and Russia, but some of the rebels are actually like sponsored by different allies to the United States, within the United States. Some are supporting one group while the CIA is reporting another group. But it was Israel not listening to Joe Biden. And that was the big problem. That was the big problem for Syria, was that Israel never listened. The rebels in Syria knew the time was now. They adopted a more moderate approach in their government. At least that's what they've said. Had nothing to do with Joe Biden. Syria collapsed despite Joe Biden. Another thing he's trying to do is he's trying to sell off all the border wall material. Make sure that we don't build the border wall. And this is a guy, okay, let's not argue the finances of this, okay? We already have the money and we have the supplies to build a wall along Mexico. Biden and his group don't want that wall built. Mysterious user, Orange Man 47, snatches up all border wall materials in online auction. I really do hope that Trump can undo some of these policies, get us back on the straight and narrow a little bit, return American pride to Americans. And then maybe slowly we could claw back our children to be raised to be more like, be more like Daniel Penny, not Luigi. Don't be angry, rebellious people who are following false prophets and dumb ideas and just, you can't even listen to the argument because as soon as you hear the argument, you're going to change your mind. This used to be America. We used to be able to argue. We used to be able to be friends with people on the other side. That's why I'm here trying to bridge a gap. I'm trying to draw the people that I know right to the middle. Draw them to me. I love the people on the left. Even the far left. I love AOC. I wouldn't want to see something bad happen to her. But that's what Purple's about, man. Purple is about recognizing who the heroes and the villains are. No matter whether we like it or not. Maybe it doesn't align with what we're believing. Call it like we see it, man. And let's govern that way. And let's expect our leaders to do that. We have the power. If we don't listen to the media, if we turn off this or turn on that, we can affect change. We have a lot more power than these politicians want us to believe. Well, as usual, I've rambled on, and I thank you so much for listening to it. I'm Kid Copious. I'm Purple State Party. And so are you. Love one another, man. This is the Christmas season. Let that spirit of either Jesus or Santa, doesn't matter who you believe in, let that love seep into your heart and spill out across this great nation. Yeah, God bless America and all that. Let's dance it out.